as you mentioned with your concerns with this election, so do you believe, regardless who the winner is, we are going to have a fair and balanced election, and whoever the people decide to vote in to the White House, it was legitimately, excuse me, be the next president?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. I believe that this idea that somehow mail-in voting is rife with fraud is has no basis in reality. There has been multiple states that have been doing vote by mail for years with no problems, and Republican states as well as Democratic states. So this hasn't been a practice that's unique to one state. Colorado, Oregon, Florida. I mean, where the president votes, they have mail-in voting, right? And this is what he's saying is fraudulent. It isn't. We know it isn't, and we know that it can be done. Now, are there glitches in the system the first time states are doing things? I mean, in Pennsylvania, 28,000 voters got the wrong ballot. Now, every ballot has the presidential race on it. The reason it was the wrong ballot is it was down ballot. Maybe the state representative or state senator wasn't the right one because they got the wrong ballot. That was a glitch by the vendor, but it was discovered. People were immediately contacted. I have 4 grown children. One of my sons was in that 28,000. He got a phone call saying, hey, the ballot you got was not a good ballot, and you're going to be getting a new one. We're mailing it on the 19th of this month, and it's going to have an orange strip on the envelope. So when you see that ballot come with the orange line on it, you'll know that's the replacement ballot. You mail that one in. And 2 days later, after the 19th, he got his on the 21st. That envelope arrived with the orange strip on it. He filled it out and he put it in the mail. So it was a glitch, but it was caught and corrected. And the way the system works, once a ballot's recorded by the scanning machine, if another one comes in, I mean, they're coded from the same person, it's rejected. So yeah, we're going to have a fair election. There is going to be virtually no fraud. Are there going to be glitches? Are machines going to jam up and they've got to get a machine unjammed before they can keep processing votes and it delays the tallies? I'm sure some of that's probably going to happen on election night. But without question, we're going to have a legitimate result. And I sort of hope we have the vote is such that it's a very clear result too. A big victory by either side would make it pretty clear that that's the will of the people. And that would be refreshing to a lot of us to hear Americans speak clearly on what their preference is in this presidential race. And so we'll see on November 3rd where that's going. We're 6 days away, so we're counting the days. And I think a lot of us, and I'm sure a lot of Americans are ready for this to be over too, and have their television sets return to normal. In terms of the commercials they've had to watch.
See, yeah. All right. So one final question for you, Mr. Doyle. So regardless if President Trump is reelected or if it's Vice President Biden, how will you plan to work with whoever is elected, regardless if it's President Trump or Vice President Biden?
Well, I don't think much changes. Obviously, a Biden administration would be pushing the type of legislation that I think we need to do in the country. I think that under a Biden administration, you'll see a giant infrastructure bill front and center and done early. And I'm not just talking roads and bridges. I'm talking about broadband infrastructure, the grid. This would be very good for the country and put a lot of people back to work and good for the economy. So, I also think that would be able to start to work to repair that parts of the healthcare bill that either get struck down by the Supreme Court and to make improvements to it and to put a public option, I think would be important. So obviously in a Biden administration, I think we'd be working on a lot of things that I think are important to the country. If it's a Trump administration, we're going to continue to work as we've worked in the last 3.5 years, where we can find consensus to work together with our Republican colleagues and get things done. So to me, I've worked with 2 Republican presidents and 2 Democratic presidents. But the way we do the work it doesn't change. It's just a matter of, when you're in charge, when your party is the majority, you get to set the agenda. When your party's in the minority, you get to react to the agenda. And that's primarily the difference. But there's good ideas on both sides of the aisles, and there's been many bills that my Republican colleagues have approached me and say, you know, do you want to sign on to my bill? And I've signed on to them, and some of them have passed and some of them haven't. But I have no problem working with Republicans.
All right, so Mr. Doyle, I want to thank you so much for your time, and also best of luck with your election coming up.
Great. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure to speak with you today.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody votes, regardless of who you're going to vote for. Get out there and vote. Our democracy works best when we all participate.
Absolutely. Congressman Doyle, so we are going to send it back to the studio.